predictions and then never admit they're wrong. Yeah, that's not Mackey and Judd. This is the place where we just totally own our horrible predictions.
Write this down.
And eat them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Write that down.
It's Write That Down.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
With Mackey and Judd.
Yep, only show in America dumb enough to actually put statistics next to our predictions. Or courageous enough. I don't know. There's a fine line.
Dumb.
Yeah, fine line between dumb and courage, I guess. But here's how it works every single week. This is the original version of Write That Down. We also have a football-centric version over on Purple Daily. But 3 predictions from everybody each week. They must be quantifiable. That's the only real parameter. We keep track of batting averages and home runs. And listeners, if you want to be like Dylan and participate, you can send us a message through the Score North app. There's a feedback tab. You can address it to Declan. He's the master of the scheduling. I'm the master of the prediction tabulations. Judd is the master of
trying to remember which show I'm on to make no. I'm just trying to recall today which show I'm on to make the right prediction, so I don't accidentally make Twins predictions on Purple Daily and vice versa.
Yes, you tried to self-report, and we're glad that you did. But I actually we'll get to your accountability.
A lot of honesty.
I'm not looking forward to mine.
Yeah, there's a lot of red, here today, actually.
Well deserved.
But before we get to the accountability session, and then before we make our predictions, Judd, you lost a lot of weight a couple years ago, and if you're a listener looking to lose a lot of weight and maybe change your life, Livia is here to help you.
Yep. In fact, it's now almost two years ago. I started my journey with the program and dropped 40 pounds. Felt great, looked great. I mean, heck, I went from being in, I think it was a size 38 to being down small enough to where he's size 34-inch waist. It was that successful. And now I want you to experience the same success. And how about this for an offer? Your first 8 weeks on the program for free. Imagine dropping 20 pounds for free, and you are just getting started. You pick the amount of weight that you want to lose, and the nutritionists and dietitians will help you not only drop that weight, but most importantly, keep that weight off. 855-GO-LIVEA, Livia, LIVEA.com. And we also occasionally are sharing stories from folks who either watch this show or Purple Daily. We want to hear from you. So if you have dropped weight because of a program that definitely works, send it to share it at Livia, share LIVEA at scorenorth.com. Share LIVEA at scorenorth.com. Again, Livia.com is where your weight loss journey starts, and I guarantee you're going to be impressed by the results.
But you're not going to be impressed with Judd's prediction results, which is where we start
here.
Whoa! Okay. This is a lot of red here. This is a bloodbath. You might be spared on this last one for at least a week here, but we'll get to it.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay.
So you said the Twins will come off Bally Sports North by July 15th, but apparently Sinclair, or whatever the entity is, Diamond Sports, whatever.
Yeah, made the payment.
They made the payment.
Yep, so they're not going to be.
You also said the Twins will not have all their games on Bally Sports North this year, so at some point before or after July 15th, they would be off Bally.
Yep.
Max Kepler won't be on the Twins roster on July 1st.
Raking.
He's their hottest hitter.
He's raking.
He's their hottest hitter.
You're right.
You said Ryan Reeves will sign a contract extension with the Wild that brings him back for this upcoming season. They found a new Ryan Reeves. Is it Pat Maroon?
Patty Maroon.
Yeah. Led the league in penalty minutes. Yeah, let's go.
3 cups. He's a good player.
What does he do to get those penalty minutes? Like, how did he lead the league in
fights?
Okay.
Misconducts. They add up.
Yeah, so guys will fight him. Reeves, guys literally won't fight. So like he'll fight you. He scares guys. So and he beats people to a pulp. Maroon can beat you up, but there's a lot more guys who want a shot at the title.
Okay.
Just like in Lethal Weapon. You want a shot at the title?
Pat Maroon. Let's get
Patty Maroon. It's Patty. We call him Patty here.
Okay. Patty Maroon. You also said Rocco Baldelli will not be the Twins manager in July of 2023. You said that a year ago.
I was going to say, I believe I said that last season.
Yep. You said that 1 year ago. Or sometime maybe in the offseason.
What
here it is.
Terrible week.
You self-reported this next one as being incorrect on the wrong show.
Yes. After too many beers in Iowa with the brother-in-law, sister-in-law, and niece, fully admit I got confused about which show I was on and self-reported a Twins prediction on a Viking show.
What's funny is that we literally started the show with a Purple Daily intro, me saying, welcome to Purple Daily, Daily Vikings Entertainment. Purple Daily is presented by TCL. We have the purple lettering and coloring on the YouTube channel, and you just like slept all the way through that and just came in hot.
I had to reboot my brain after that. Like, I feel like it just sort of shut down, and then I had to reboot it.
So you said Duran will be the Twins' lone All-Star representative at this year's game. So at this point, Sonny Gray is the only Twins representative. But I feel like with all the injury replacements and stuff that you might still get this one correct.
Okay.
So you were pretty quick to self-report, but...
Yeah, it's technically not wrong.
Yeah, Sonny's scheduled to pitch against the Baltimore Orioles on Saturday, so he actually can pitch. This is going to be his third All-Star game with 3 different teams, and then the first 2, I don't think he's pitched. He's actually going to probably pitch in this game, so it will be wrong, but that's cool. Let's just wait and see.
Old Macadac, a little bit of a mixed week here. We'll start with the bad stuff. I said the Wolves would waive both Torian Prince and J-Mac. Well, they brought J-Mac back, Jordan McLaughlin, that is.
Yep.
For like the $2.3 million. It was non-guaranteed. They brought him back. I said Twins would be in first place at the end of every day through June. They fell behind Cleveland by a half game for one of those days. God, there's still only a game up. I said the Wolves would part ways with J-Mac and Jalen Noel.
You hate Jordan McLaughlin.
It's funny because I've actually loved him.
Yeah.
And I still think he's a good depth guy, but
just like you're going to turn on Jared Goff at some point. I can feel it.
Never. It's my quarterback, man. That's my quarterback.
Nice.
But I did tell you guys the Wolves would acquire a new point guard this offseason on their NBA roster. Shake Milton is a combo guard who effectively becomes their backup point guard. To my
great nickname.
Shake
is a great nickname.
And finally, a Ricky Fowler prediction on this show. Declan and I have been taking stabs for what seems like years.
Yep.
I said earlier in the year, Ricky Fowler will win a golf tournament this year.
Yep.
He hadn't won one since 2019. He finally took one down. The Travelers. So that's kind of a Joe. I would say it's more than a Joe Mauer home run. Like it's a decent home run. It's not like a 480-foot tank, but
it's in the bullpen at Target Field, in my opinion.
So I just want to bring something to the court here on one of your correct predictions.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
You said the Wolves will acquire a new point guard this offseason on their NBA roster, and you have Shake Milton.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going off Wikipedia and Basketball Reference. There's no reference of him being a point guard.
He's a combo. He's a combo guard.
But if you said point guard, and if there's Wikipedia and Basketball Reference saying position only shooting guard, I might have to bring this to the court.
Okay. But he was signed to be the ball handler that comes off the bench when Mike Conley's not playing. I mean, why don't you Google Shake Milton point guard and see what happens?
That's what I'm doing right now.
Listen, if we need to take this to Lawyer Chase, I mean, my God, he's on retainer, but it feels like lately we've been racking up the bills with Lawyer Chase here.
We're doing a good job on that retainer.
Okay.
Judd,
you let me know.
SI report on this 4 days ago. Report Timberwolves to get backup point guard in Shake Milton.
Okay.
That's the SI story on it.
I mean, I don't know if you guys want this. I mean, I've raised flags with your predictions before, so if you guys want this to go to write that down court, we can make that happen.
It looks like the Sixers moved him more to shooting guard, but that he has been considered a point guard at times.
Yep.
Is that a fair assessment?
He definitely played off ball a lot with the Sixers because James Harden was their point guard, and they had other guys that could handle the ball too.
James Harden.
So I don't know what we do with this because, like, yes, he's played a lot of off ball in his career. He also averages like 3.5, 4 assists off the bench because he is a ball handler when he comes in the game.
Here, this is from a SB Nation story on Shake. It says, not long after the NBA and most of the world shut down because of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Shakester became the Sixers starting point guard in the bubble, but the team season ended in disappointment, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, he's a combo
So,
guard.
yeah.
He's a point guard and a shooting guard.
No,
I think
I think it's fair from both ends.
I think
I think it's a fair thing to point out.
Hey,
but we've done our research. I'm comfortable with it being a point guard.
Yeah.
Present it to Lawyer Chase if you would like. I will not be offended.
I don't think it's worth it.
This is how the game works.
Yeah, I think
Like,
this
we
is
only have so many strikes that we can present him before we actually, as a company,
enjoy his
started to get
vacation.
billed. And the Hubbards would not look kindly on another lawyer just randomly billing them.
So many layers. Okay, so if there's enough uproar, we do bring it to court. Sounds like you guys are okay with it. I do want to raise this one here. I said there'd be a credible cat trade rumor before July 10. So what do we do with the Chris B. Haynes report? Because he is credible, we would say. This is on a Chris B. Haynes, Mark Stein podcast.
Yep.
And he said Minnesota obviously, so he reported that they did call the Blazers.
Right.
But then he said Minnesota obviously, if they're trying to get in the Dame sweepstakes, it would take Cat. But that was quickly eliminated.
Right. So it's not so it doesn't. I think we kicked the can to July 10th.
Okay.
Because I think you can debate that one a lot because like he's throwing it out there, but I don't know.
I might
like,
if that's the only scrap between now and July 10, I might push this one to write that down court just to see.
That goes to court.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that goes to Chase. I feel like the Shakester one we can resolve here in a conversation.
The Shakester.
So it's like the Shakester is like an amicable divorce.
Yeah.
I think the Cat one is going to need to go to court.
Okay. Listener Brent said the Timberwolves will trade Cat to the Blazers for the number 3 pick, and the Wolves will select Brandon Miller. This could have come off last week. Did not happen.
Oh boy.
And then a bloodbath.
Yeah,
oh my God, the averages. Luis Ariz is crying in Miami right now looking at this crap.
This is bad. So, Dex, you said the Wild would trade at least one of their first 3 picks, 21, 53, 64 in the NHL draft. They made all those picks.
For the next 2.
You said we'll get a cash-in moment at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. That Becky Lynch would win the women's Money in the Bank.
Come on, Bailey. You're handcuffing her.
You said the Twins would acquire Aroldis Chapman.
How about that? Just goes to Texas already.
Yeah, it's early July. You said Carlos Correa would raise his batting average to 250 or better at some point in June. I don't even think he got it to 220.
Yeah, you had a better month, but did not.
He's at like 222 right now, right? Or 225.
Yikes. And you said the Twins would acquire an established major league reliever, at least 100 games pitched in the month of June.
Ugh.
Oof. A little over.
No,
0
I can't
for
laugh.
6.
I can't laugh because look at what I came down to.
So Judd, who was once hitting 400, is now down to 333.
You're the pitcher.
Declan's at 250 in second place. Listeners at 242. Old Macadax still in last place, but climbing at 222.
Macadax making a little bit of noise, which is why we need that Cat one to go away. Being red.
Declan. And then Judd still leads with 5 home runs to my 4. Declan 3. Listeners 2. All-time Declan with a 369 average, 40 points better than Judd historically, about 100 points better than me. Judd leads with 279 career hits. Listeners lead with 44 career home runs. So there's your accountability session. Let's get Dylan in here. Boy, he just had to sit through a lot.
What's going on, guys?
Dylan, cameraless Dylan here. We're having some technical issues, but we can hear him. And we're pumped to have you, Dylan. When did you first become a Minnesota sports fan, man?
Oh my goodness. Well, I've been one my whole life. I'm 29 now, so just kind of barely caught the Randy Moss stuff. But AP was when I jumped on board the Minnesota sports train hardcore.
Are you sitting in a bird cage right now?
I am not. I am sitting in my car. I'm at work, so just trying to
skip out on work.
Weather.
Yeah,
birds are
exactly.
Out, birds are happy. No one's sweating too much.
So we'll start with Dylan, over to Judd, Declan, back to me, and we'll make 3 trips around the room. So, Dylan, you are the leadoff man.
Write this down.
Fire away. What's your first prediction?
All right, I feel like I'm going to come off the top rope with this one and say that, write this down, Jordan Addison will score a touchdown this year before Justin Jefferson.
Ooh.
I'm expecting JJ to start getting that Julio Jones end zone treatment where everyone's just piling up on him. So
Birds are too.
Yeah.
The birds are like, that's a great prediction.
It really is.
Write this down.
Yeah, I think we need Jordan Addison to practice once first, just so we can get a feel for him. But can't make the club in a tub, as Brad Childress used to say.
Write this down.
All right, Judd, what's your first prediction?
Write this down. Listen to that. That's just so great. It's so refreshing to hear those birds so happy and chirping because they like my prediction of this. Anthony Edwards will get at least 3 votes for NBA MVP next season.
Wow, MVP.
And with a new contract, he's going to, again, his career has incrementally, like he has shown progress as good as he's been. He's not even 22 yet. I think he's going to take another step, and he's all he is already on the radar, so that's not a problem. We'll get at least 3 votes, Declan, for NBA MVP next season.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, he has to, what he did in the playoffs, can he do that on a more regular basis when it's a Tuesday night against Charlotte?
And I think he can.
Yeah, get rid of these like weird 3 for 15 games that kind of pop up once in a while and just go and dominate.
Write this down.
All right, Dex.
All right, my first prediction. Write this down. Sonny Gray will log a full inning of work at the All-Star Game. He will get a full inning of work. 1, 2, 3 on the box score. Sonny Gray will log a full inning of work at the MLB All-Star Game. Write it down.
And then Judd will predict that he will have a partially torn UCL sometime within.
No. I do have a starting pitcher prediction coming up, but that's not the one.
Okay.
Write this down.
All right, boys. Happy Summer League week here, the NBA Summer League.
Oh, Kyle's excited. He's going.
Kyle Teige's going to be down there in Vegas later this week. I was in Vegas sort of scouting out the territory on behalf of Flagrant Howls last weekend.
Being royally drunk and gambling does not count as scouting, Phil.
And going to a 3-hour Usher concert at Park MGM.
That all sounds great for scouting.
Did you really?
Dude, we didn't know he was going to play for 3 hours, but
what's up with this now?
3 hours.
He's got the hits.
Swiftie plays for 3.5.
Well, it's one thing if you're like playing in a stadium where 75,000 people are paying tickets.
I don't want.
He's doing a residency in Vegas where you can just go like anytime you want to, and he's still playing. At one point, he was on roller skates for like 45 minutes.
Taylor Swift at 45 will, no question, do exactly that.
A residency.
God, she'll absolutely kill.
Yep. There's a lot of good, like, there's a ton of big A-lists. You got Adele's doing a residency right now.
Oh, really?
Miranda Lambert is doing a residency.
Oh, country's huge down there. Keith Urban was doing a residency at Planet Hollywood when I was there in March.
Dumb question. Did Celine Dion start that?
Well, I mean, Frank Sinatra and Elvis. Actually, Liberace actually started it.
Right, but no,
like
but I'm 50s. I'm saying like the most recent version of that. Was that Celine Dion?
Yeah, I think you had like you had sort of the Rat Pack, Sinatra, at the Sands.
They didn't leave.
Elvis,
they just didn't leave Vegas.
But those kind of became antiquated lounge acts, like in the early, like late 70s, early 80s, and then the 80s and the 90s. It was like a 20-year run where it was a little bit old, and then Celine Dion came around like the early 2000s and did that. It was one of the first big A-list, still in her prime residencies.
According to Google, J-Lo logged 120 shows over 2 years at one point. Elton John, though, performed 197 shows over 8-year residency.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
When did he start his?
I don't know.
Okay. But it was like in the 2000s, I think, wasn't it?
Probably.
I don't know. But, so yeah, I don't know. Usher, 3 hours. Let's go.
Nice.
So my prediction is Vegas Summer League. Josh Minott will have a double-double in his first Summer League game. I think Josh Minott's going to come in here and prove something.
Oh, yeah.
A double-double in his first Summer League game. He should go dominate the Summer League.
Yeah, he absolutely should.
Write this down.
Let's make it happen. All right, back to Dylan for his second prediction.
All right. I'm going to give a little love to the most underrated defensive player possibly in the NFL ever, Harrison Smith. I believe that, write this down, in week 1, Harrison Smith will have all 3 of these things: a sack, an interception, and either a forced fumble or a fumble recovery.
Wow.
Oh, man.
I love this.
Some form of hat trick right there.
So he could do it could be like a strip sack for one of them that checks 2 boxes, then like a pick 6 or something.
Exactly.
This is all in week 1.
All in week 1. Baker Mayfield's going to have a lot of trouble with 22.
That's a tape measure
Dude,
home run right there, my man.
Dylan's coming in high. I love this. This is great. Okay, Judd.
Write this down.
All right, another Wolves prediction. Whenever majority ownership of the Wolves passes to Mark, Laurie, and A-Rod, because I think it was originally supposed to be in January, and now it might be in March. So whenever that happens, Declan, there will be an announcement that Kevin Garnett's number 21 will be retired within 2 months. So, like, if it happens in March, within 2 months of there. If it happens in January, but I think one of the very first things that they are going to announce once Glenn Taylor is officially out of this is that there going to be a ceremony. So within 2 months.
They should just have the press release written right now.
It might be actually
the day after it happens.
I'm sure they've talked, right?
How long? So Glenn's going to remain a minority owner for as long as he wants, or is this an exit for him? Because I don't think he's selling all of his.
Well, the majority stake though will be gone. So I'm sure that those two have talked to Kevin about this, right?
A-Rod has confirmed, spoken with Kevin.
It would make that's one of the first things. Like if you want to move on from Glenn, right? Just as far as the appearance of Glenn, I think the Garnett ceremony is like one of the easiest things that you could possibly do to say, okay, one of the legend of this franchise is now back in good graces, and we're in good graces with him.
Yeah, and he should be around and helping and just sitting courtside once in a while.
His number should be up in the bleeping rafters, baby.
Yeah. All right, Dex.
All right, let's buy some Twin stock with them playing a little bit better baseball here since the players-only meeting. Write this down. The Twins will be multiple games, 2+, over 500 at the All-Star break. Right now, they're 1 game over 500. They have been dancing between 1 game, 500, below, and that song.
So if they beat you're saying they'll beat the Royals today?
They'll beat the Royals, and then they would have to take at least 2 of 3 then from Baltimore. There's
no,
4 games left.
If they beat the Royals today, your prediction's correct.
No. By the end of the All-Star.
At the All-Star.
At the All-Star.
Two over
the All-Star.
At least 2 over at the All-Star break after Sunday.
Yep.
Okay.
After Sunday, they will be at least
so the
2
birds,
games over 500.
The Birds will have to be beaten again.
They'll pluck those.
Okay. Birds are struggling a little bit.
Yeah, they might have been a little fraudulent. Fraudulent.
They're young.
They are the. They are the.
I do love them though. Great franchise.
I'm going to pile on some Twins optimism here too. Write this down.
Good.
The Twins at some point this season will be 8 games above 500 or better. I think everything is aligning. This division, they prevent runs. They've got the offense. They've got better offensive meetings, I guess now. Like Correa's going to bust out of it. They're going to go on a little bit of a run at some point. They will be at least 8 games above 500 at some point.
So help me here. Is Popkins like in a broom closet now when they meet? Hey, let me out of here. Let me out. Let me out. No, here's what we're going to do. Hey, I got some stats. I want to no. And then it gets done and it's like, okay, Popper, you can come out now.
They're just torturing him.
It's
just
dark in there.
The
they turn off the light. I can't find the light.
Poor guy. I mean, if that's not evidence that you're probably not going to be retained, like you can't. The players have taken over the hitting meetings, for God's sakes.
Write that down.
It's amazing. Okay, back to Dylan for your third and final prediction.
All right, my third one here. Again, I think that our defense can have big bounce back year this year. So write this down. In some way, shape, or form, statistically, Andrew Booth Jr. will be considered the best cornerback on the Vikings team. So he'll either have the most interceptions, he'll have the lowest passer rating allowed, but in some form, he will be considered the best corner on the team.
Let's put a couple. Let's do like a. So let's say he'll either have the most interceptions or the lowest passer rating allowed. Can we put those two? Okay.
PFF passer rating.
Yeah.
Is that how it's okay?
Yep.
Yeah. He's gonna capitalize on those Duke Shelley stats like last year.
Gotcha. Because I mean,
make that happen.
He could make a ton of tackles, and that's bad news.
Right. Yeah, because it means you're just getting beat.
Because you're just getting beat like a drum, and then you got to tackle the guy.
Yeah. So awesome, Dylan. Great stuff here with your predictions. We wish you the best of luck. Since you've got this life-changing platform here, is there anyone you'd like to thank that helped you get to this pinnacle life moment?
Well, I mean, honestly, you guys, I'll be honest, I started listening to you guys a few years ago back on the radio station because my cousin Manny actually played baseball with Declan.
Oh, wow.
And so it's Manny Gomez. So we started Yeah,
That's a
so
great
we,
baseball name, Manny Gomez.
yeah, so we started listening to you guys, and it was mostly like hate listening at first. We're just like, oh, them guys always talk about Kirk, but we stuck with it, and we just we enjoy the show a lot. It's been really fun. So yeah,
See, the Cousins
Came
Crusaders, we can convert some of you guys.
Came around, you
Convert
see?
some of you guys. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Manny Gomez might be one of the great baseball names of all time.
The Hazel Park Dodgers had a good little run there in the RBI league from 2009 to 2011. So yeah, and that was a good little squad we had there.
Yeah, so great.
Awesome.
No, I just thank you guys very much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, Dylan, thanks for coming on, man. There he is, guest listener predictor Dylan taking his swings. That's always funny. People, they probably had text threads with each other. These guys.
Yeah.
Did you hear what Judd
People
said
hated
about
us.
Cousins?
Not only
Cousins
can Declan not hit a baseball, he hates Kirk Cousins too. It's great.
Cousins.
Before we make our final three predictions here on Write That Down, let's shout out some friends here at the Power Lodge and Miller Marine. It is throttle therapy season, and there's over 300 pontoons in stock between Power Lodge and Miller Marine. Locations in Brainerd, Onami, and Ramsey for Power Lodge, and Miller Marine in St. Cloud. So, Judd, get out there. If you're looking for just a reset before football season,
Yep.
a breather from these sports teams, get out on the water, one of these pontoons.
And pontoons are great, right?
they're the
pontoons are great. Everybody loves them because they go slow enough. A guy like me, not really a speedboat guy, but a pontoon, a drink, friends, throttle therapy. What more could sports dad need? And I know that you feel the exact same way. Our summers are brief. Our summers are glorious. And a Bennington is how you want to spend our summers.
PowerLodge.com and MillerMarine.com. Also, if you need some stuff done around your house and you're not very good at those things like us, Finch Home Solutions is here to help fill that void.
That is 1,000% right, Phil. In fact, that van, Cody Finch and his team, Finch Home Solutions, do a great job. That van pulls up in front of your house. Sound the Gallahorn. Please sound the horn. Thank you very much. Because when that van pulls up, you know what it means? It means any electrical issue in your home, you have just scored a touchdown. And I'm going to talk to you right now about one thing that Finch gets right, or actually three things. Courteous,
How about
professional, courteous, professional, and the ease of the process. If you have anything that needs to be done, and I'm talking about a rewire of your entire house, I'm talking about fixing a light. I got a light fix. Guess what? Finch is going to show up at your home. They are going to get the job done. Again, courteous, professional, and quick. Finch does outstanding work, and you can contact them today. Either call them 612-357-2604 or go to finchhomesolutions.com. Here's the best part. If you're like sports dad, you're like, I really don't like to talk to folks a lot. You can fill out the form of exactly what you need. finchhomesolutions.com. They're going to show up at your house. They're going to fix it. They have been to my house. And as Declan and Phil can tell you, I don't let people in my house, but I did with Finch, and they did the job. finchhomesolutions.com.
All right, let's get to our final three predictions here, starting with Judd.
All right, write this down. I'm going to combat you guys a little bit. This isn't negative necessarily, but I think it's an inevitability of sorts, because if you look at the starting pitchers, the Twins have a lot of guys that they can't re-sign them all, some starters who are going to walk. So the Twins will trade a current starter on their staff before the MLB deadline. And here's my reasoning. I hearken back to 2018, Molitor's last year. And if you guys recall, that Twins team was competitive, right?
Okay.
Or was it 17 when they traded Escobar and they traded like three guys?
I'm going to go
That
17.
17. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was.
Escobar was 18. Kinsler was the one where they punted in 2017, and then they ended up winning the wild card game.
Brandon Kinsler, that's right.
They have made trades within the spectrum of what have been decent years. I think they do that again. They trade a current starter on their staff before the MLB trade deadline, which, as a reminder, is August 1st of this season.
Okay. Wow. There is a Sonny Gray We should just do like a show on it at
There's
some
an
point.
inevitability with him that a decision has to be made, and I don't think he's coming back.
Well, what's going to be funny is we're going to do
Yep, I know. Where
like next week or something. We're going to do a Sonny Gray. Should they trade Sonny Gray discussion?
Yeah.
And the Twins blogosphere and whatever are going to clap back and say that it's clickbait and whatever. You can't trade your number one starter when you're this. Well, I mean, the Carlos Correa discussion, the Jose Barrios discussion, right? Like, if you're
Barrios
not
one, we got clapped hard.
if you're not good, or you're not going to win anything meaningful, and you've lost all these assets trying to chase guys like Malley and Paddock and whatever,
Correct.
you need to recoup assets in some form. So,
Yep.
oh man, like there's a lot of ways to finish 500 and get bounced in the first round or miss the playoffs. We could do it with or without Sonny Gray. So I think they need, like, for me to not say they should trade Sonny Gray, they need to be like several games clear in the division, and it needs to be pretty obvious in like 3 weeks that they're going to make the playoffs. If they're still if it's like right now where they're like a game below 500 or something, and
next Monday, book it.
okay,
Let's do
it. We'll earmark it. All right, Declan, what's your third and final prediction?
Write this
All right,
down.
I'll go to the wild well here. Write this down. Philip Gustafson will have a new contract between now and July 19th's accountability session. So the next 2 weeks, by the accountability session 2 weeks from today, Philip Gustafson will have his new contract with the Minnesota Wild.
Okay. If it was up to Declan,
Mhm.
I'm guessing that they would trade him, actually.
I'm open to the idea. I wouldn't
It
say
falls into your bin. Don't you deny it. Falls into your bin. Wallstead comes up.
yes. It falls into my bin that goaltending is random and you shouldn't overpay for it, which I
running
don't
backs.
believe they will overpay for it, which is also another good reason to stopgap it with him and Fleury before Wallstead is ready next year.
Okay.
But I'm not completely against trading him.
It's running backs now. Goaltenders, more and more are running backs.
Yeah, you can't have a train wreck. You need someone that can be competent.
Yep.
Like,
Yes. But you also don't want to pay them a ton because competence comes and goes at that position.
yeah, no, but how many times do we? It's tough because how many times have the Wild had situations where it's like,
Well,
do you have a guy that can stop a shot in the playoffs? Or
Wallstead, in my opinion, is probably prepared right now.
you know. All right, final prediction for me here. Write this down.
Write this down.
The Damian Lillard trade, which I think is going to happen at this point, will include at least 4 teams.
Ooh.
So
Ooh.
they're not gonna be able to, especially with Miami. Like the Blazers have said through reporters, they don't want Tyler Hero. So okay, if you don't want the centerpiece of a Miami trade, and I agree, by the way, you have to have a third team. And I think it's going to get so convoluted. There's going to be at least 4 teams involved in this Damian Lillard trade.
Okay.
And I'll just put I guess we'll put an end date of like by the first game of the season. Because if there's not an end date and he goes back to Portland, then it's just on the board. So we'll say Damian Lillard will be traded by the first game of the season, and it'll include at least 4 teams.
Wow.
Just to quantify it. There you go.
Write this down.
There's already, I saw something buzzing around that there's like 5 teams like having discussions about it. I don't know if the Wolves are one of those 5 or if that's an extension of the Crispy Haynes. So like teams are going to come together in some conglomerate and all try and like latch onto this thing. Can you imagine being the point guard GM and trying to figure out how to make because someone's got to lead that discussion. Like I've done it in fantasy baseball leagues before and they just get annoyed. Like, what are you talking about?
Here
Like,
we
how
go.
would you pull that off if you're a NBA GM? Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to make this trade on behalf of you. You guys good? Okay. Everyone sign off?
That'd be a cap guy probably, right? Because, I mean, it's got to get
Yeah.
so convoluted from a contractual standpoint.
Yes. So there it is. All right, there's your write that down predictions here. We've got a Flagrant Howls coming out today. Tomorrow you guys are doing a Judd's hockey show, so we're back at full strength here after the long weekend. And Purple Daily rolls on too, 365 days a year. So check out Purple Daily on the Purple Daily YouTube channel and also on the podcast feed, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.